It is Tuesday, August 14th, game 2 of a 3-game series between the Giants and the Dodgers. And the Giants come up victorious 2-1. There wasn't a whole lot of scoring and hitting, but there was plenty of entertainment tonight as the Giants Roundup. You can follow on Twitter, join the Crooked Kite page on Facebook. Most importantly, please be kind and hit that subscribe button. Yes, a big win for the Giants tonight against the dreaded Dodgers, and it was a huge series win. But the game, and now the Dodgers have dropped 5 straight in a row. And we'll see what happens, but this was a really great game by the Giants. Andy Suarez really great on the mound tonight. 6 scoreless innings, walks 3, strikes out 4, gets the ERA down to 4.40, got a no decision. Alex Wood, 5 innings, 1 earned, 3 hits, 6 strikeouts. And then the only really hiccup in the bullpen with Sam Dyson. And then in the second inning, the hitting started with a single by Alan Hansen. It scores Evan Longoria, and it's 1-0 Giants. In the 8th, Machado singles to center. It scores Justin Turner 1-1. Alan Hansen singles to center. It scores Brandon Belt. And that's your final score of 2-1. But there was plenty of head-shaking entertainment tonight. And not just the fight. We'll get to that in a second. But in the 5th inning, Dodger fans were doing the wave. I think Dodger Stadium might be the only ballpark that does the wave when you're losing by a single run. I think it was just ridiculous seeing all those Dodger fans doing the wave. It just looked ridiculous. To me, it did. But I think Dodger Stadium is the only ballpark I have seen the wave be emphasized. And then there was another close call as the Giants barely avoided a collision tonight between Steven Duggar and Austin Slater. Luckily, Slater caught the ball, no damage done there. Certainly not a lot of hitting on the hitting scoring-wise, that is. Arno 1 for 4. Longoria 1 for 2. Nick Hundley 1 for 2 before. We'll get to that in a second. Brandon Belt 1 for 1. Alan Hansen 2 for 4. Most of the damage on the Dodgers side came from Justin Turner, who goes 3 for 4 on the night. And Sam Dyson, his 5th blown save of the year. Will Smith gets his 10th save out of 11 save ops. And now the Giants improve to 61-60 on the year. The Dodgers dropped 2 back of the division at 64-57. And the Dodgers have lost 5 straight and could be it. This could be a very interesting next 6 or 7 weeks. And the fireworks really came in the 7th inning when Yasiel Puig fouled a tip with his stupid bat flip, and Nick Hundley said something, and next thing you know, yes, it was fight time after that. As Yasiel Puig first shoves Nick Hundley, then throws a punch A bench clearing brawl ensues afterwards, and it ends up being Yasiel Puig getting ejected. And also Nick Hundley gets ejected from the game. The Dodgers announcer said that Nick Hundley shoved Yasiel Puig. I didn't really see that on the Giants feed. I don't think Nick Hundley's if that shove were to come to fruition, maybe Hundley gets a game. But with Yasiel Puig's cheap shot, and man, Yasiel Puig is a punk. He's been starting shit with the Giants since he was called up with the Dodgers organization. He's had I think like 2 or 3 incidents with Madison Bumgarner. Of course, the one time where Bumgarner hit him with a pitch, Puig takes exception. The bench is cleared there. Then you have the infamous "don't look at me" situation of 2016, where that was kind of on Bum, and I think that was great of the Giants. The Giants Bum away from that situation and save him from a suspension. And then, of course, the bat flips. People get the bat flips of Yasiel Puig that offends Bumgarner, and the last start showed a lot of maturity by Bumgarner to walk away from the mound, and that's what you really have to do. But I think that's the problem with Puig. He's a punk. He's used racial slurs, and this is not his first fight. Also, the Dodgers' first base coach tackled Hundley. That could be a suspension there. So we will see what happens once the dust settles with the review of the league office. But we'll see if But Yasiel Puig, he's got to get at least 5 games for this. And if you're the Dodgers front office, you really have to start thinking about cutting Yasiel Puig or trading him this offseason. He can't keep doing this. He can't keep doing these stupid, selfish shit every time. And this is and Yasiel Puig, he's getting into Niger Morgan territory in terms of selfish, and George Lombard, that's the guy who will probably get a suspension there. But Puig's antics, the Dodgers have to get tired of Puig's antics. I know some Dodger fans, and they don't care for Yasiel Puig. They're not impressed by his stupid antics. If Puig wants to do this type of shit, he should go play for a team like the Chicago White Sox or the Baltimore Orioles, where you shouldn't be playing on a contender where you're hurting yourself. And this may be part of the reason why Dave Roberts could get fired this year. And the Dodgers are leaking oil at the worst possible time. But I think it's with Puig, he's going to get at least 5+ games. I would say somewhere between closer to 6 to 8 games is what Yasiel Puig will get before he appeals. And I could really see the front office really taking a stand and making it stick too. It's time. The league office has to throw the hammer at Yasiel Puig at this point. And we are going to see what happens tomorrow. We shall see if I don't think it'll come tomorrow, but I think if the Giants are eliminated by the last series, I say I wouldn't be totally surprised if Bochy lets Madison Bumgarner hit Yasiel Puig in the ribs in the next series to teach him a lesson. And I normally don't. I think this is a time where you do have to use a beanball. You hit him in the ribs, hit him professionally. Out of all the shit he's done, he deserves the beanball at this point. Tomorrow would not be the best time to use the beanball. There could be a pregame warning tomorrow. And we're still in the race technically at this point. But I also don't see Dutch Oven Derek Holland resorting to that. He'll be going up against Hoonjin Ryu tomorrow. We'll see what Derek Holland does. We'll see if he does decide to throw at Yasiel Puig or not. But I think he's definitely gonna get at least 5 games. And when they do come back and play each other in the final series of the year, Puig's gonna have it coming for him with a beanball in the ribs coming for him. It's time to. Puig's a punk, and he deserves his punishment. I don't think Nick Hundley should have been tossed, but Puig is such a hothead, and it's not an isolated incident. He has done this shit 3 or 4 times in a row, and I think he's going to get his justice with the beanball, and I think the league office has to throw the hammer down at Yasiel Puig. And the best thing the Dodgers front office can do with Puig this offseason would be to move on from him, cut him, or trade him. He can't keep costing you games. You don't deserve that hothead in the front office. And that's all I've got to say about it. But as in terms of the playoffs, the Giants are 5 games back at this point. And then, as I say, 1 more game against LA. And this was really a win they needed. They got the series win. That was a huge series win. Now they don't need. Now it would be nice to get another win tomorrow and go for the sweep. But now they can breathe. They can breathe a little easier. That they'll live another day. Their chances slightly increase, as in terms of making it to the playoffs. And more importantly, now the schedule gets easier. After tomorrow, you're playing 2 teams that are in last place with the Reds and the Mets, and then you go home and play the Texas Rangers. So this is the opportunity to go out and rattle off some wins. This is the time to start making up ground in the West. But at the very least for the Giants, they've played spoiler against the Dodgers. And we shall see what happens if the Dodgers don't make the postseason this year. It wouldn't surprise me if say the Dodgers miss the postseason, that Dave Roberts gets fired. It would, especially with the guy named Joe Girardi out there on the market. The Dodgers could say, "Hey, let's bring in a proven manager to try to get this team over the hump." So Dave Roberts could be under the gun here. The Giants are now 6 games out of the wild card at this point. Yeah, the Dodgers, they could have to think about bringing in. They could start kicking the tires on Joe Girardi if, say, they miss the postseason. It would not surprise me if Dave Roberts is fired. But a lot will do with what comes in September here. And for LA, they're going to be really hungry to get a win tomorrow. So The Dutch oven, I don't expect him to go out and hit Yasiel Puig in the ribs. That's not his style. What I more expect is maybe he wears a "Don't Look at Me" shirt. That's more of the Derek Holland humor. Or maybe you'll find another "I pooped myself" type of shirt. We'll see what happens with Holland. But great outing out of Andy Suarez. And I think Suarez, he's certainly good. I'd say pencil him into next year's rotation at this point. We'll see what happens with him unless he has a really bad September. I'd say, yeah. The only other, but it could get really interesting. You got Casey Kelly out there who's going to be competing for a rotation spot. He's auditioning here. You got Casey Kelly who's doing pretty well. You got Tyler Herb, a guy in Sacramento who's really starting to turn a corner over there, who's really pitched well. I really think he would have been up with the Giants by now if it weren't the fact that he got hurt earlier this year. But Tyler Herb is definitely going to be a name to watch in 2019 at this point. And then certainly there was quite a few Giants fans at Dodger Stadium tonight. It was a great night for the Giants. And now LA will try to avoid a 6-game losing streak. And let's see, if the Giants can get a sweep, that would be super. But I will take it. I will definitely take taking 2 games out of 3 at Dodger Stadium. Now the schedule gets easier after tomorrow. Get those wins. Get those wins against the Mets, the Reds, and the Reds, the Mets, and the Rangers. This is the nice little lull in the schedule where you're playing the weaker opponents. So this is the time for the Giants. This is the time for the Giants to make a run. If you can go out there and get some series wins, maybe not run the table, but got to come close to it. You got to get series wins at this point. Let's say get 2 of 3 in Cincinnati, get 3 of 4 against the Mets. Then you're coming home smelling like a rose, and maybe it's not so bad after all. And certainly Arizona hasn't pulled away with it. But Colorado's the only one that's really nobody's really pulled away with the NL West at this point. So now this is the time to take advantage and make a run. And you do have Hunter Strickland coming back, so I would definitely mold the idea of, say, putting Strickland in the 7th inning. Maybe go Strickland. You can go vice versa. You can go Watson, Strickland, Smith, or Strickland, Watson, Smith. You can go one of those two. And then you got Reyes Maranta. I'm hoping that I'm not the big, but Hunter Strickland, he's got to really prove it. Hopefully he can not be such a hothead. Maybe learn a few things what Bumgarner's doing, stepping away from the mound when you get mad at yourself. I hope he learned a lesson from that Marlins series. And yeah, we are getting Hunter Strickland back in the Cincinnati series. So the real question is who's going to get sent down at this point. You got a really nice bullpen going on, and Ray Black, he's done well enough to keep his spot in the rotation. I think maybe it might be Dyson who could be the odd man out. He may get sent through waivers. I think he could head for the waiver wire. I think Dyson could find himself the odd man out when Hunter Strickland returns. But the other odd man out today was Pierce Johnson. He was optioned back to Sacramento. Yes, Brandon Belt was back, and welcome back, Brandon Belt. If you're going to win, this is the way to – if you're going to come back, have yourself a game. Belt goes in 1 for 1 after Posey has to go in the squat after Hundley gets tossed. And hopefully we get the good Brandon Belt here. If we can get a good this is the best time to have the Brandons going. This is the time for the Brandons to get their average up a skosh. But this was definitely a good way to return back into the lineup. Really great presence by Brandon Belt. Crawford, we escaped we dodged a bullet with Brandon Crawford. He's passed the concussion tests. He's going to be fine. So we dodged a big bullet there. So Crawford will probably be back in the lineup tomorrow. We'll probably have the Brandons in there tomorrow. And we shall see. As I say, after tomorrow, we'll be back on air tomorrow. That's going to be on to Cincinnati after that. And as I say, enjoy the nice break in the schedule while you've got it. It will be, they go to Cincinnati for 3. Then they go to the Queens to play the Mets for 4. These should be games they need. And then they play Texas. So really, between now and after tomorrow, up until August 27th, you have a nice break in the schedule. Then you play Arizona. That's your next tough team. September's not going to be kind to the Giants. Don't get a lot of tough divisional games in September. This is the last. After tomorrow, this will be the last real easy part of the schedule. But we will wrap it up for tonight on that. Let's go to the MLB Roundup for tonight. In Chicago, the Green Bay Packers blanked the Chicago Bears 7-0. In the win, Yoelis Chacin, 7 scoreless innings, 10 strikeouts. Taking the loss, Jose Quintana, 5 earned and 5 innings pitched. Jesus Aguilar, 2 for 4. And also in that game, we did have Ben Zobrist ejected for arguing and criticizing the umpires, wanting a computerized strike zone. Not really a good idea, Mr. Zobrist. You will probably be hearing from the league office about a potential fine for criticizing the umpires. So I think Zobrist will get fined for that. In Baltimore, the Orioles beat the Mets 6-3, taking the win. Andrew Kashner taking the loss. Bobby Wall, who surrenders 2 earned and 2/3 of an inning pitched. Renato Nunez, 2 for 3. Brandon Nimmo, 2 for 3. In the Bronx, the Yankees beat the Rays 4-1, taking the win. J.A. Happ, who pitches 7 scoreless innings, taking the loss is Hunter Wood. And Aroldis Chapman gets his 31st save of the season. Boston, the Red Sox beat the Phillies 2-1, taking the win. Rick Porcello taking the loss. Tommy Hunter. Just not getting any run support. Now Philadelphia falls 2 games back of the NL East. And the Phillies are leaking some oil as of late. So we'll see what happens as we go into the month of September. In the Battle of Ohio in Cincinnati tonight, the Indians beat the Reds 8-1, taking the win. Corey Kluber taking the loss. Sal Romano, who surrenders 6 earned in 1 and 2/3 innings pitched. Jose Ramirez goes 3 for 5. Melky Cabrera goes 3 for 4. Ramirez hits his 36th home run of the year. Preston Tucker 2 for 2 for the Reds. In Detroit, the White Sox beat the Tigers 6-3, taking the win Lucas Giolito, taking the loss Blaine Hardy, who surrenders 4 earned in 4 innings pitched. In Atlanta tonight, the Braves beat the Marlins 10-6, or shall I say the Falcons beat the Dolphins 10-6. Taking the win, Jesse Biddle. Taking the loss, Adam Conley, who surrenders 5 earned in 2 innings pitched. Ronald Acuna Jr., 3 for 5. And for Miami, Rafael Ortega, 3 for 4. Ender Inciarte, 2 for 3 for Atlanta. Acuna hits 2 home runs, his 19th of the year. And Anibal Sanchez, 5 runs, 4 earned, and 5 innings pitched. Trevor Richards, 5 earned and 4 1/3 innings pitched. In Arlington tonight, the D-backs beat the Rangers 6-4, taking the win Patrick Corbin, who strikes out 7 in 7 innings pitched. Taking the loss, Giovanni Gallardo, 4 earned in 3 1/3 innings pitched. Shin-Soo Choo goes 3 for 4 for the Rangers tonight. And now Arizona has a 1-game lead over Colorado. In Minnesota, the Twins beat the Pirates 5-2, taking the win Jake Odorizzi, who strikes out 9 in 5 2/3 innings pitched. Taking the loss, Jameson Taillon, 6 innings pitched, 3 earned. David Freese goes 3 for 4 for the Pirates tonight. In Houston, the Rockies beat the Astros 5-1, taking the win. German Marquez taking the loss. Justin Verlander, who strikes out 11 in 6 innings pitched in a losing effort. And now the lead is down to 1 game in the AL West. In Kansas City, the Blue Jays beat the Royals 6-5, taking the win. Jake Petricka taking the loss, Blaine Boyer. Ken Giles gets his 14th save of the year. Adalberto Mondesi, 4 for 4 for Kansas City. Heath Fillmyer, 5 walks in 5 innings pitched. Ryan Barucki, 4 walks in 4 innings pitched and 4 earned runs. In St. Louis, the Cardinals beat the Nationals 6-4, taking the win is John Gant. Taking the loss, Gio Gonzalez, who surrenders 5 earned in 4 innings pitched. Colton Wong goes 3 for 3 for the Cardinals. Mike Mayers allows 3 earned and 2/3 innings pitched. And now, don't blink now. I think that now they're only a game back is St. Louis, who has won 7 in a row. They're 4 back of Chicago after tonight. In Oakland, the A's get a big win over the Mariners 3-2, taking the win Mike Fiers. Taking the loss, Felix Hernandez, who comes in 5 2/3 innings in relief of James Paxton, who leaves the game with an injury after 1/3 of an inning pitched after getting hit by a ball. And the A's did, and yeah, tonight was the return of Robinson Cano. Boo! Yeah, and certainly the A's did boo Robinson Cano tonight. Bernard Span goes 2 for 4 for Seattle. Jed Lowry goes 2 for 4 for Oakland. Marcus Semien 2 for 4. Jed Lowry hits his 19th home run of the year. Marcus Semien his 10th home run of the year. Blake Treinen gets his 32nd save on the season. Oakland is just one game back of Houston at 72 and 48 on the season. Seattle falling to 4.5 back of the division, 3.5 back of the wild card at this point. So it's going to be So Oakland has now got the division in reach at this point. And in San Diego tonight, the Angels beat the Padres 7-3, taking the win. Jaime Barria strikes out 7 in 5 innings pitched, taking the loss. Brett Kennedy, 5 earned and 5 innings pitched. Justin Upton goes 3 for 5. Taylor Ward goes 2 for 3 for the Halos. And now on to the and then now let's see now if the season were to end today. In the AL East, Boston's pulling away with it. The Yankees lead the first wild card by 3.5 games. Cleveland pretty much is locking up the Central. And the real race is the AL West. Oakland in the second wild card. Tomorrow will look to top. It's just a game back of Houston, as I say. Seattle slipping back to 4.5 games of the division, 3.5 back of the wild card. And in the NL, Atlanta holds a 2-game lead over Philadelphia in the NL East. Washington slipping to 8 games back, 6 back of the wild card. In the NL Central, Chicago holds a 2-game lead over Milwaukee. Milwaukee is the first wild card game, 1 game up. St. Louis just a game back of the wild card start. I think it's time to start removing that interim tag off of Mike Schilt. Pittsburgh, 5 back of the wild card, 8 back of the division. In the West, Arizona holds a 1-game lead over Colorado. Colorado a game and a half back of the wild card. And Philadelphia is the second wild card as of right now. LA 2.5 back of the wild card, 2 back of the division. Giants 5 back of the division, 5.5 back of the wild card. Now on to the minors for tonight. It looks like there was no games tonight. Yes, tonight was a travel night. No games in the PCL tonight. Oh, here we go. Now we're getting scores. Okay. No, there was games tonight. The Grizzlies beat the 51 6-3. J.D. Davis going 2 for 3 for Fresno. Framber Valdez gets the win. 6 strikeouts, 3 earned in 5 2/3 innings pitched, 3 walks. Raymond Goudouin gets the save. And the River Cats beat the Aces tonight. 9-1. Taking the win is Chris Stratton, who's, that might be good as in terms of September call-ups. Chris Stratton, hello, is over. You're not too late yet. Chris Stratton starting to find his groove again in AAA. Taking the loss for Reno is Matt Koch, who surrenders 8 earned in 4 2/3 innings pitched. Hunter Strickland pitches a scoreless frame. It's a really good night there. It looks like Hunter Strickland is ready for a return. And as I said, we'll see if they use him in the 6th, in the 7th inning or 8th inning. So we will have a very crowded bullpen. And of course, you got Reyes Baranta, who's really doing well in late innings. Ray Black, that guy has been a find this year. He's definitely been great. And for the Rivercats tonight, Ronnie Freeman going 3 for 5. Orlando Calixte 2 for 4. Ryder Jones 2 for 4. Cesar Puello 2 for 4. Kelby Tomlinson 2 for 5. And we'll see who will be part of the September call-ups, but hopefully Stratton can maybe carry some momentum into the September call-ups. It's probably the best I've seen Stratton pitch in a great since he's been on maternity leave. So maybe this is maybe the message needed to get Stratton back on track. We will be back on air tomorrow night. We'll see if there's any more fights tomorrow night. Hopefully not. And I don't think we'll see the beanball tomorrow night, but I think Yasiel Puig is going to get it coming for him in the finale if the Giants are out of it by then. Everybody have a great night. Good night.